Bay win the NFC South.
If you are willing and able, Chris Godwin does have a foundation that helps pets find homes. And I myself made a donation today, earlier this morning. Between that, everything Chris Godwin does in the community, you see him on the Bucs social media, all of these pictures of the team helping out after the hurricane, he's in them. If you're willing and able. I just wanted to put that out there before I begin. So where do we even start? I mean, do we go with the game first, or do we go with the conversation everyone is having about Todd Bowles and the injuries? I guess let's get that out of the way. So just my opinion, as a fan, I 100% do not believe the starters should have been out there that late into this football game against the Baltimore Ravens. You're playing an AFC opponent. Every other team in your division lost this weekend. You got slapped around from the second quarter on, and in my opinion, you take your loss, you learn from it, and you bounce back in a massive game next week against a divisional rival. So I personally, myself, I would have had no issues when 6 minutes left in the game. It was 41-18, and if Kyle Trask and company ran onto the field for the Bucs offense, I know I would not have been like, Todd Bowles, what are you doing? We still have a chance. 41-18 in a game where the Bucs defense could not stop Lamar after the first quarter at all. That's my thoughts as a fan. I'm not going to blame players and the team for wanting to stay in the game. They're competitors. They want to win. This is prime time. Everyone's watching. Big matchup against one of the top teams, most respected teams in the league. I understand them wanting to be in, 100%. Subbing out starters in blowout games is a thing for a reason. And we saw this situation on the flip side in week 1. We're blowing out the Washington Commanders. Antoine Winfield Jr. is still out there playing defense, trying to stop the Commanders' offense in a game that's already out of hand. The Commanders were not coming back in that game, and he ends up getting injured with a minute or two left in the game. Thankfully, it was an injury that only kept him out a few weeks. This situation, unfortunately, that did not occur. I feel that as a coach, at a certain point in a blowout, keyword at a certain point, there does need to be a time where you pull your starters. You protect them and you move on. It's a long season. Take your loss, especially in this game against an AFC opponent you were an underdog against, and you keep the season going. John Harbaugh did. He pulled his guys. He knew the game was out of reach. He knew the Bucs weren't coming back. Why didn't Todd Bowles make that executive decision? So down 10, 43 seconds left. Do I think they should have been out there? No, but I'm not going to blame the team for continuing to fight. I just can't do that. If there's fight in this team and the team still had fight left in them, I'm not going to blame them for that. I wish it would have came a little sooner, but here we are. Where I do think, as I've seen on social media, and maybe I shouldn't even be reading into these type of comments, where fans are blaming Todd Bowles directly for Chris Godwin's injury. This is football. There are so many little things that go into each and every play that lead to the result of that one play. You cannot blame Todd Bowles directly for Chris Godwin's ankle dislocation. What if Baker Mayfield threw to someone else? What if Baker Mayfield threw a bad ball and it was incomplete? What if Luke Gedeke got beat and Baker got sacked and wasn't able to throw the ball? What if Liam Cohen called a different play? What if Chris Godwin took a different angle on his route? What if Roquan Smith tackled Chris Godwin differently? There's so many things that go into each and every play. You cannot blame Todd Bowles directly for the injury. Keep it short and simple. Football happened. It sucks. We're all pissed and we all feel for Chris Godwin and his family and wish him nothing but the best. Career year he was having, just dominating in this Liam Cohen offense, and it hurts. Now, what you can blame Todd Bowles for was this team's performance on the field. That is something you can blame him for. once again, just the in-game awareness, the in-game management just is not there. In these losses, it's always glaring. And like, what a start to the game too, to give you that momentum. Ray J was rocking under the primetime red lights. Bucs win the coin toss, and once again, they take the ball and they score on the first drive of the game, Baker to Mike Evans. They get a stop on defense, 2 sacks on Lamar Jackson. Bucs get the ball back. They drive right down the field again. Chris Godwin scores a touchdown, called back by holding, so the Bucs settle for a field goal. The Ravens answer, score a touchdown, and then the Bucs drive down the field again. 3 drives in a row, driving right down the field on this Ravens defense. And ball to Mike Evans in the end zone. He pretty much rips that hamstring that's been bothering him. We talked about it all week long, about this hamstring that's been nagging him. You saw him in the Saints game grabbing it, and he plays through it in this game, and on that deep ball, it gets him, and he's not able to come up with it. Soon after, Baker Mayfield throws an interception in the end zone to Marlon Humphrey, and literally just right downhill. This defense had zero answers for this Ravens offense. Todd Bowles just kept sending blitz after blitz after blitz. Lamar against the blitz. 13 for 17, 186 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 151 passer rating. It's not working, Todd. This is where you have to make those in-game adjustments. If it's not working, do you think the Ravens are going to switch up what they're doing? Do you think Lamar's going to switch up what he's doing? No, it's working. He's going to keep killing it, and he kept killing it and killing it. 4 passing touchdowns against the blitz. The later it got into the game, the more Derrick Henry started to heat up. You saw him just start getting it in that second half. And once again, 0 answers for stopping Derrick Henry in that second half. The Ravens punted the ball on their first drive of the game, and then did not punt the ball again until their final drive of the game. There were no answers. Offensively, after that first interception, Baker threw a second interception, really bad one, and Chase McLaughlin missed his first field goal of the season, and all momentum was shot after that. If it wasn't already shot after it seemed like the Mike Evans injury, it seemed like everything just went down. They did put up points in the fourth quarter. Like I said, it was 41-18 with 6 minutes left, and the final score was 41-31. Do I think there was a possible comeback there? I really don't. I don't think there was a possible comeback there with how this defense was just unable to stop the Ravens offense. I mean, it is always possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I definitely did not think it was going to happen, and the chances were probably 0.001%. Like, it was out of reach. It was out of reach. Like I said, John Harbaugh knew it. He was comfortable. He pulled his guys. We can no longer use the injury excuse for this Todd Bowles defense. Yes, Jamel Dean is out, but your big guys are back. And it wasn't like it was the outside corners that got destroyed this game. So I don't know that Jamel Dean would have helped. This is Todd Bowles. This is his unit. Defensive guy. And it just does not look like a good unit. It doesn't look like it's being led well. It doesn't look discipline. After every loss, every press conference where he gets asked, like, what's going on with the defense? Why are teams beating us so much through the air? He's just like, well, guys just aren't in the right place, and we're going to have to work on that to get that fixed. Guys are being undisciplined in their coverage. Well, what is it? Because I was always taught that the coach is supposed to coach the players to be in the right position, and then the players make the plays. So is he saying the players just aren't comprehending his defenses? Like, what is that statement saying? This defense just isn't playing at the level it needs to be consistently. We have seen some great game plans from Todd Bowles throughout his time with the Buccaneers. I mean, you look back to the Detroit Lions game, and after it, everyone's like, Todd Bowles masterclass, including myself. Great game plan. Went into Detroit and got a dub. Only team to beat Detroit. But the consistency is not there. The game plan worked for Detroit. But going into other games, when your game plan isn't working, you have to adjust. It is very rare where I leave a Bucs game and I'm like, wow, Todd Bowles made a crazy and impressive adjustment at halftime, and this defense came out a completely different team in the second half. It's rare that that happens. If you want to look at last week against the Saints, I feel like the defense was pretty much doing a solid job the entire game. Solid job. You look at how the Saints scored, punt return, and then off some interceptions. So what is it? What is it? Where do we go from here with this Todd Bowles defense? If guys aren't being disciplined, it's not working. Todd, if you're going to say the guys aren't in the right place, guys aren't playing coverage correctly, well, maybe switch things up. We as fans have seen KJ Britt get burned since Servassier Dennis went out, and I have yet to see JJ Russell. JJ Russell, are you here? Are you on the team? Todd Bowles, you're not even going to test it out? You're not even going to test it out. KJ Britt is rated 82nd out of 82nd of all middle linebackers. And you're not even going to test JJ Russell to see if he's better than last place? Those are adjustments. If it's not working, why are we just going to keep sending him out there? The whole defensive line rotation thing, where let's take out Vita, Yaya, Kalijah, and let's bring in Greg Gaines, Anthony Nelson, and whoever, Ernest Brown. When has that worked? When have they ever put in the second group of defensive linemen and we were like, wow, look at that play. Great substitution by Todd Bowles for putting in Greg Gaines there instead of Vita Vea. I get it. Throughout the game, guys need rest, but just these full substitutions over and over. What? Especially on your big name guys too, like Vita and Kalijah. Like, come on. These guys need to be in there. They need to be in there. They are our guys. It's not like the Ravens' offensive line is substituting and they're putting in their second group of offensive linemen, so why are we putting in our second against their first? Does he think that a fresh group of backups coming from off the bench onto the field are going to do a better job than our star players against their starting unit? Like, no. I'm taking my starters, I'm taking my star players every single day of the week. Before I end this, a couple positives. Ended on a good note. Mike Evans, 100 career receiving touchdowns, the 5th fastest player to ever reach that mark, and only 11 receivers ever have done that. So Mike Evans, legendary status. We already knew he was, and just continuing to add to that resume. And then the run game. The run game was pretty solid against the number 1 run defense in the entire NFL. Rashad White looked solid. Bucky didn't have his best game. Sean Tucker looked solid. Baker had a couple scrambles, but overall, it wasn't like we were breaking off giant runs, but it was consistent. We'd get a 4-yard run, a 6-yard run, a 3-yard run. It wasn't too often where we were just falling backwards. So run game continuing to look strong. Being able to do it against this group is impressive. And they're going to have to lean on it heavy over these next 3 or so weeks, however long Mike Evans is out. They're saying after the bye week, this run game is going to have to show up. That performance is... It's hard to defend, guys. It was not a good performance yesterday, and then those injuries just stacked on top of it. It was rough. It was rough last night. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. Leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on this game? I mean, what are your thoughts on the injury situation? Are you like myself where I'm not really going to blame them? It sucks. I think he should have been out, but I'm not going to blame them for it. And, I mean, I think we can all agree on the performance overall and the lack of adjustments. I think we can all agree on that, at least. Something we can all agree on? Maybe? Okay. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Go Bucs, and y'all have a blessed one.